Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Core Energy Experience. I'm your host, Kurt Bruckman. Today, we have a very special friend and guest, Trevor Eyerkuss. Trevor and I lived in Monmouth County, New Jersey, all our lives on the peninsula, as we call it. The peninsula is between two rivers, and in the bay that goes out to Manhattan. And then, of course, the front side is the ocean. So there's been a lot of surfing. Now, saying that, I never became a big surfer. My athletic talents were different. Trevor has gone on to something here, which I really want to delve into, is the spirituality of it.
Absolutely. That's the spirituality of it is the huge part for me. So back in the day when I was trying to be someone I wasn't, I was the guy out in the water. You see in the movies, tearing people's leashes off, telling them to go surf other spots, popping their tires in their car because I didn't want them surfing there. They dropped in on a wave with me. I would paddle over there. I've been in multiple fistfights on the beach that I can count from age 15 to 20. I was that guy. Right. Now I'm that guy that I just want to get everybody in the water. I want to sell everybody a surfboard. I want everybody to get in there and to experience it. It is truly the most beautiful feeling in the world. And as you saw this summer, I got to do Surf for Vision, which is getting blind people out into the water. I got to do Best Day Foundation, which is getting physically handicapped kids out in the water surfing. And when I tell people what it does for me, man, to see those kids do that, it's the coolest thing in the world we had a kid who was nonverbal autistic. And he was speaking, like my hand to God. His mom was crying because he was saying little words when he got out of the water.
Wow, how touching is that?
So I know the water is the most healing place on the earth, and I want everyone to be able to feel that. And that's part of why I took a job in the surf industry. I want to spread that love and push it out to everybody else.
Well, you're certainly doing a damn good job because I was watching this summer, and of course, when you take that group onto the beach and different other groups too, not just them, but so special to be able to give yourself fully and wholly to something that you absolutely believe in and to be able to deliver it to the public, but certainly the special needs people and to have them thrive.
Absolutely. And it's beautiful because they have to put their trust in me and the guys doing it for the day. So it's very hard, especially like the Surfing for Vision. These guys, I had someone who was 100% blind. He was a pro MLB baseball player in the 70s.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I forget the gentleman's name. And he's sitting there and we're getting ready saying, hey, we're pushing you into a wave. And I'm on the back of the board with him. And he's like, I'm not ready. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, you're ready. We got this. I was like, this is Mother Nature. You don't need to see anything. You just need to feel this.
Oh, you hit the spot. Mother Nature.
We get into a wave, man. And I grab his life jacket and I rip him up. And he's standing up on that board. And he's hooting and hollering. You can hear it down the whole beach. And I was sitting there. I was in tears. That was just the most moving thing I've ever done.
That is just fabulous stuff, Trevor.
Yeah. It was beautiful. It was better for me. It was better than me going surfing. Being able to get someone else to experience that feeling that I get to feel all the time. And that's what it was. Me and the Long Branch lifeguards doing this. And I told these guys, this is something that we take for granted. We get to do this not every day because there's not waves every day, but we get to do this whenever we want. These guys, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and to be able to see them actually experience this is the most beautiful thing in the world.
Gosh, I'm moved.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm really deeply moved, Trevor. I got to be there next time.
Absolutely.
To see it.
I love that.
To have seen it on the clips that I did and whatnot, but to hear it verbalized now.
Yeah, really I'm getting emotional thinking about it. It's one of the coolest things you can ever do.
It really is fabulous. Your service to people is one of the things that you've been excellent at all your life, and even more so now. So just to trip in a little more of the surfing, and then I want to transition into a couple other things. So you're down in Long Branch at the shop now in Pier Village, yeah?
Yep. So I am I'm down to 1 day a week, 2 days a week there. I'm running the Jetty Surf Club on Saturday mornings that I started, and this is it's just getting people out in the water. So it's for beginner guys, intermediate guys, advanced guys. So what I do is I just have everybody show up that wants to surf, and it's a mentorship. For the guys who are just starting off, they get to learn from the guys that are advanced. For the guys that are advanced, we just get to hang out and talk surf and show the groms and the young people what it's about and try to give them some tips and pointers.
Ain't no discrimination, babe.
Not whatsoever. And it's the best thing in the world. We didn't have waves this Saturday, so I had Durf from Island Style come in, one of the originals that was in the surfing industry from the 70s. Wow. He came in, and me and him just did a whole talk about what history of surfing is in New Jersey and how really everybody talks California and Hawaii.
Sure.
But there's so much rich history in New Jersey between some of these guys that brought Quicksilver in the United States, from Vince from Islander Surf Shop in the 70s, and Durf, who designed all these surfboards that are now used today in modern surfing. There's so much rich history in New Jersey that people just don't understand. And it's a really cool thing.
Yeah. You know, and you'll remember this, and people who recently come to the area or are just, born in the last 20 years or so here, we had jetties.
Yeah, we did have jetties.
And they were long.
Yep, absolutely.
And they created waves.
Yep. And they're disappearing. I mean, so I just went down to LBI, for instance, and they're like,
there's still jetty down there?
There's not. They've all
disappeared. Took them out too?
They're all gone. They're absolutely. So we have more jetties in Monmouth County than there is anywhere else in New Jersey, it looks like at this point.
I didn't realize that.
But don't get me wrong, our jetties aren't substantial anymore. They've changed. It's not what it was in the 90s.
Right.
And it completely has changed everything. It's changed the sandbars. It's changed the waves. It's changed everything about the beach.
And in the meantime, you've been able to help the surfing community adopt and adapt to all of that,
yep.
and to really start a whole new cycle
yep.
of New Jersey surfers.
Absolutely.
Wow. That's something to be very proud of,
yeah.
my friend.
Yeah, but I couldn't have done it without the people that support me. And that's, there's a lot of people behind it. It's not me. I used to be, it's a me thing. And now it's about the people that I network with and what we're doing to help people and to spread surfing and the love of surfing again.
The collaboration of
Absolutely.
it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You and I talked about that some years ago.
Yeah, we did.
Talked about going from the me
yep.
to the we.
To the we, that's right.
To the us.
Yep, absolutely.
And here we are, and look at you flourish. I mean, it's just been fabulous to watch.
Yep, 4 years later.
Yeah. I mean, congratulations on all of it. There's so much more. You're in your flow now.
Yep, absolutely.
You found it, and now you're in your flow, and you're expanding like mad.
Yeah, I struggled for so long, and obviously with the substance abuse things, but I struggled with depression, anxiety, all of it. And I just didn't see life getting any better. Like I just was a woe is me, and I just acted out and was trying to be someone I wasn't. And now, being in my natural state, I'm the happiest person in the world. I get to do what I love every day. I get to help people, and it's the best thing in the world. I harbor really good relationships now. That's
fabulous. So we're going to go there in a little bit, so I'll finish up with the surfing. Can you tell us about the youth group that's coming in? I've noticed there's a woman in Seabright that started, please mention her name.
Melissa.
Yes.
From Lucky Dog Surf.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So she started years ago.
She did.
Bringing the surfing back to the youth groups. Yep. And I mean 3, 4, 5, 6
yep.
years old, like you were talking about.
So I was running my surf camp for a while down in Seabright, doing kids 10 to 15 and trying to get them on the boards. But, here's Melissa succeeding getting these 4 or 5-year-old kids on surfboards with her surf camps. And she has some of the most qualified instructors that are out there, which is really cool. She's found her niche. That's kind of her thing. I send people. She has more soft surfboards than any other place in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Much. She's got such a collection of them. So I send a lot of people to her to get boards like that because I have some, but she is really the go-to person on that.
She's
stuff.
part of your feeder system.
Yeah, absolutely. She is. And she plays a huge role in the community of getting these young kids out there doing it. Some of these kids that are on the Rumson Fairhaven surf team, the shore surf team, these are kids that have all come through her surf camp. One of the instructors at her surf camp is the shore regional surf coach.
Right. So let's go there for a little bit because up until, I don't know what year it is, you can help me out here, there was never heard of it in any of the high schools a surf team.
No, my parents tried.
Like,
my mom and dad tried so
spell
hard.
that,
Yep.
surf team, no way.
No, my parents
So
tried.
when did that happen and how's that developing?
So about 8 years ago, it started as a club, and it still is a club for Rumson Fairhaven. So it's not an official team because of Title IX. So what you do with one, you have to do with another for school.
Yeah,
so,
we all know it starts with football. And
right.
all
So they
stuff.
ended up finding a loophole and starting a club, which is men and women can compete, boys and girls. So that was the loophole. But they're competing against the Manasquan surf team and the actual surf teams. They're doing the actual scholastic.
Is Manasquan, are they in the system?
They are, and they're phenomenal. So Manasquan just had their states yesterday, I believe.
Wow.
They're one of the best surf teams there are in New Jersey.
So how many teams are there in...
So in New Jersey, I want to say I think there's somewhere around 37 teams. 30
From the high
something.
schools?
Yeah, from high schools. Yeah, it's pretty
Sanctioned
big
by
thing.
the high schools?
Yep, absolutely. So down south, it's huge. I mean, LBI, that school district, down there, Atlantic City, they all have surf teams.
Wow.
And it's definitely, so it's weird because surfing as a whole has been a dying sport as far as we see in sales go. But people are out there doing it still. I mean, you're seeing it grow in different markets. So now we're seeing the younger kids get out there and do it again. I'm trying to push to get older people out there to do it, just because I hear so many people say I'm too old to do it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, you're never too old to do it, man. If you can walk, you can surf.
Well, if they can find that spirituality in
Yep,
the
and
waters like you have,
absolutely, yeah.
you know,
Yep.
that's really a magnificent thing. And, you know, you had to work on all this.
Yeah, yeah.
As you mentioned, you went through your trials and tribulations in life. And you remember when you and I were doing our thing, working together, we used to walk the hook, Sandy Hook, in the dead of the winter.
Yep, we did.
Started parking lot A.
Started at A.
We graduated all the way down to F. I think we got that further every time we started moving on in our process of helping you help yourself. And I have to say, you know, Trevor, that and to the audience, Trevor and I were walking frigid, you know. I mean, it was, you know, 10-degree weather and the wind's kicking up, you know, in the middle of the winter. And Trevor and I had been working together about core energy and the dynamics of it, and we started unwinding it each parking level that we started at, and finally we're like D, I think it was D or E, and Trevor looks over at me during the walk, the freezing cold, and he says, "I got it." I said, "What's that?" He says, "Devotion
To the motion.
And ever since then, Trevor has been in motion to help himself recover and has done such. And now we're here in the unwinding of the process of devotion to the motion. And in the core energy dynamics, that's what we push. Be in the now. The now's where the action is.
Absolutely.
The now's where the motion is. The now's the rawness, the truth of it all.
I was always a later guy. Oh, I'll do this later. I'll do that later. And it didn't work. I was always finding myself behind and stressed and trying to play catch up with everything. I was the biggest procrastinator in the world, and it's true. Now is the time. If you're gonna do it, get off of your butt and go do it, man.
You bet.
So I have a friend down in Naples, as a matter of fact, good surfer, and he's really motivational, and he does these videos every day, and it's own your day. So every day, in my day, I always tell myself devotion to the motion and own your day. Like, get up and own your day, do what you want. Don't put your head down on the pillow with any regrets, because tomorrow's not guaranteed.
God, you're huge. You are huge.
Took a lot to get here.
Yeah, yes and no, because there's a lot more ahead of you, and it's going to be so expansive.
Yep, absolutely. It
you
is.
know, it's just the lives that you're touching already have, and you're going to continue to touch them, is really magnificent. So let's start to progress a little bit here in time, and let's fill the audience in about not only are you active in the surfing world, extremely active, and bringing up, you know, the awareness to it and the acceptance of what it is, but you've also taken another job.
I have. Man, so I honestly, Kurt, and I'm not just saying this because I'm here today, I wouldn't be here without Kurt right this second. That's the truth. I wouldn't be in my zone. I wouldn't be in my flow. I wouldn't be doing any of the things that I'm doing. For so long, I struggled with addiction and self-acceptance and all of these things. So I never had the job I wanted, because I always put a cap on things and said, I can't get this job. I'm not qualified for this job. Or I can't do this. There's a million people applying for this. Why would I get hired for this? And I surrounded myself with a really bad crowd, as if you remember.
I do.
And I had to get myself out of that way of thinking that I'm a tough guy and trying to prove something that I'm not. Because at the end of the day, I'm a little chihuahua, man. Whenever I go and I speak at meetings, I always tell people, like, I used to think I was this pit bull, you know, and I used to want to latch out and just hurt everybody. And now I look at myself in the mirror and I see this cute little, you know, chihuahua that I just want to pet on the head. And like, that's truly who I am, man. Like, I don't want to hurt anybody. I want everybody to succeed. I have more empathy now than I've ever had in my life, and it works for me. So I took a different job, as you said, and I'm working back in recovery, which is something that I absolutely love. So like I said, I wouldn't be here without you. So these dreams.
You did the work. Now, my friend, let's understand. We kept talking about that.
Yep.
I just helped guide, you know. And so one reason Trevor and I connected, because his mom and I went to the same school for coaching, IPEC, the Institute for Professional Excellence in Coaching, and I went on from the primary course and took the mastery course of the 4 majors, concentrations: leadership, performance, well-being, and transition. So anyway, your mom and I came out of it. We spoke about it, and one day I got a phone call, and Mom said, "I think you might be able to, would you help work with Trevor?" And your mom and I have spoken about therapy, about psychiatry, psychology, and that's your mom learned that in IPEC too. It's that core energy that we drive from. All the tools are right here within us.
Absolutely.
Not suggesting therapy and psychiatry and psychology is, a no starter.
Right.
Absolutely, needed by certain people, certain mentalities for certain reasons, 100%. But we should all be able to understand and trust our process from within.
Absolutely.
And you pointed out something earlier when you were struggling a little bit and you were so hard on yourself, the inner critic.
Absolutely.
Can you tell us what helped you push through the inner critic?
Honestly, it was going so. It was the meetings. It was going to NA and AA. It was listening. It was letting my ego go of who I thought I was, and just listening to other people and listening to their struggles and realizing and not comparing myself, but identifying with what they had. Because I always compared, and that was always a big problem.
We all do that. And that's another mistake we make.
Absolutely. So identifying with other people in those meetings is what kind of helped me realize that, number one, I need to change a lot about myself. Besides the sober aspect, I had the sober aspect. Now it was rebuilding my life, and what did that look like to me? Getting sober was great, but a lot of people get sober and they get miserable.
It's like, now what?
What do we do?
Well, it's purpose. That's one thing you and I were talking
absolutely.
about.
Right. And now that I was sober, I had purpose again. I've always had that need for wanting to help people, whether it was being on the first aid, whether it was helping, rescue dogs with my dog rescue. I always want to help, hurt animals and hurt people. And that was always something that even in my addiction, I always wanted to help people. Even though I had that angry side that wanted to tear people apart too, I always wanted to help.
Sure.
So once I found that aspect I always tell people this, I struggled for over a decade for a reason. I struggled because now I can use my past to help somebody else. And that's what I'm doing today. And that's the beautiful part about my struggles is I didn't struggle for no reason. I was struggling for this exact purpose, to be put here today and to be able to talk and to help people.
That's exactly right. That's part of, remember, multidimensional. Yep. This is certainly one of your stronger areas, 100%. That's part of you. And we identified that as you and I were working with one another, and you took onto it. And one of the first things you did was you continued to rescue dogs. That's
huge. My girlfriend and I have 5 dogs right now, and it's a zoo, and right. We love it. I looked up on my Facebook this morning in my past memories, and over the past 10 years, from just today alone, I had 8 different dogs that I rescued that I was looking at, and I was like, I remember that one. Oh, that brings me back to this day. And then I looked at one, and I was like, man, I was so heavy in addiction with this dog Capone that I rescued, and I was living in Leonardo at the time, and he was running around the streets of Leonardo, and I was just looking at the picture of myself going, I look so bad, but I was still, even though I was so hurt inside, I was still able to help this dog. And that at the time made me happy, And so that suffering wasn't for nothing. I was still able to do some good while I was doing the bad things.
So you touched on and that's a beautiful thing, man. That's really, really beautiful. And it goes back to your point about nature.
Yep.
That's the other thing we discussed in the core energy. That. We were talking a lot about nature.
Yep.
And, the tools for it are right there in front of us.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Yep.
You went back into the ocean.
Yep, absolutely.
You got back into heavy surfing.
Yep. And I lost that for so long. So that was one of the things that was always so important to me. I competitively surfed for years when I was younger. And so I had multiple seizures from the ages of 17 to 25. And they called it intractable seizure syndrome disorder. Well, come to find out, it was Xanax withdrawal syndrome, but right. I didn't realize what drug withdrawal was at the point, So here I am abusing stuff that I didn't realize, and I'm giving myself seizures. So that's when I, messed up my shoulder, and I had multiple shoulder surgeries, and I was out of the water, back and forth for years. So I didn't get to enjoy surfing for a long time.
How long do you think that was that you weren't in the water? You weren't connected to nature the way
So, I mean, I always made it a point to, like, there was never a point where I didn't surf for years at a time, but I was maybe surfing 3 or 4 times a year from the age 22 to 27,
Wow.
you know, even in my 30s. So I got sober at 32. So until 32, I wasn't in there doing it like I am now. You know, I wasn't enjoying it either. Like, I wanted to do all these cool things and look good out there, and it was a way to show off again. But I was horrible at it because I wasn't consistent with it like I was when I was younger. Now I don't care what I look like when I surf, which is really cool. You know, all these guys want to have the cool stuff on, the cool boards. They want to do these cool tricks. Man, I just want to go out there and feel the feeling of riding Mother Nature and connecting again. And that's really what it is for me.
It's just so beautiful, Trevor. The whole thing, it really is fabulous, because you're a testament to what we should all strive for, and to pay attention to nature. Surround us as a vehicle. It's one of our strongest vehicles, and music too. And you're connected to music. You see, oh gosh. So we're going to go there in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The connection to the surfing into the ability to take yourself and really work on your addiction wholeheartedly, to the point where you're going to say, okay, now I'm going to do it. Now I'm going to put myself all the way in. I'm going to trust my process, as we've talked about, right?
Absolutely.
And you're going to take that conscious choice. Remember, you talked about that. Yeah. That choice is a knee-jerk reaction. You want the conscious choice and go. The big thing is executing.
Yep, absolutely. And I had issues executing things my whole life. I was half-cocked always. You know, I can only pull the trigger halfway. I was never able to fully execute things.
Because of the addiction.
Yeah. And I had no follow through. I had a great mouthpiece to speak on, but I was full of shit. You know what I mean? Now when I speak, like, I truly mean what I say, and I follow through.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons I'm also good at harboring relationships again now, is I follow through. I tell you I'm going to be here at 6. Usually I'm going to be there 20 minutes early. You know, that's what I do now.
Sure.
Back in the day, I tell you I'm going to be there at 6. You may see me 10 o'clock on Wednesday, 2 days after that.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, my Lord, huh?
You know, and I don't mean to, I can laugh about it now, but that's the truth. I mean, that's just where we're at. You know, it got dark and it got really bad.
Got real dark.
Yeah, really bad. I mean, I remember working with you. I thought I had everybody fooled. I was in full blown addiction when we were working together, but I got so much out of it, and then, you know, it took a really bad event to get me to that spot, and, you know, that helplessness that I needed.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, I did spend that night with you on on Easter.
Yeah, it was Easter. Yep. Yeah, I spent my birthday in there. I spent Easter in there.
Yeah, that was a battle.
I'm not ashamed of that either. That made me
who I am,
man. You know.
You kept through it. Yeah. You know, you kept listening, and, you know, at one point our battle was for me to get the cell phone away from you.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's what they wanted in there, and you were like, "No, Kurt, don't do it to me." Yep. You know, and I got it, because it's like taking the car keys from your grandmother.
Absolutely.
It's like, you know, it's a different way. Here's this beautiful man, and, you know, you're coming through your suffrage, and, you know, you did it though.
Yeah, I did.
You gave up the cell phone. You started buying into it more and more. Yeah. And just trusted your process.
Yeah, and listen, rehab was great. You know, it was everything I needed, but I wasn't sold. When I got out, I wasn't sitting there going, dude, I'm staying sober for the rest of my life. Like, that wasn't a thought in my head, you know? Like, that was learned behavior. I needed to go to those meetings. I needed to work with my sponsor. I needed to work the steps. Those things were so important and are so important. Otherwise, absolutely, I would have fell back. Like, I was not sold. And now here I am. I just celebrated 3.5 years 2 weeks ago. Like, it's an amazing thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, we've talked a lot about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, the behavior of our thoughts. And that was when we started working on easing up on yourself, coming away from the inner critic, start trusting your process from deep within, you know, go to your core. And, you know, you executed all of it. And now you're serving. The whole time you've been serving. This whole time, and from what you and I were discussing, it was like, okay, well, where's the servants? And that's where you were sort of upside down. One of the issues, we're multidimensional, so we're not going to pinhole any of that. But anyway, where you are now, working in, can you name the group that you're with? Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I'm very excited to. So I'm working for the Archangel Center, and I'm very excited to be working with them as their program director, and I'm doing business development for them as well, forming relationships with other rehabs and other places. So our owner is Mike, the Situation Sorrentino from Jersey Shore.
That's
and
great.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Is he involved?
He is.
That's great.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I was not a Jersey Shore guy, right? Like I'm a beach surfer guy, and that just went completely against what I believed in that show. I thought,
Right.
I didn't know what to think of it.
Commercialized,
Right,
the
correct.
whole thing was, commercialized the shit out of it.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to think of the guy because that's the understanding that I had of him, right?
Sure.
Mike is now 10 years sober.
Oh, wow.
And
Good for him.
and I'll be honest with you, he wants to help people. It's about helping people. This isn't about putting his face on a building and saying this is my place and this is what. No, we're helping people, and I know what it's like to struggle. So I'm going to now do the next right thing, which we're taught in the program, and that's what he's doing. He's using his fame for good.
So he's
to
serving.
help others. Absolutely.
It's
We're
servants.
being of service, correct.
It is servants. So much a part of who we are as human beings is our serving.
Yeah.
And, we don't think about that too much. And we should really, again, this is about going back to the core and being more concentrated about, our interior, who we are. And, we're all built the same, but it comes out a little differently. So it's that ability. I mean, we hear it so much when we're giving a gift. It feels so good to give the gift and see the person smile or whatever. And particularly when you're working with people who are struggling with disabilities or in the area of addictions or things that are just holding them back, to be able to give them the, your all and to serve them with full heart. They feel it.
Absolutely.
The other side feels that. Yeah. That's not just bullshit. A bullshit is, talking the talk, but do you do the walk?
Can you walk the walk? Correct.
And that's what you were alluding to a little earlier, saying I was just talking the talk, but I wasn't doing the walk.
Exactly.
And then you shifted to the action, and here it is. So anyway, I'm sorry I jumped in a little earlier there. So keep going on about the facilities.
So we're going to have our ribbon cutting November 13th. We'll officially be open. The state just came and checked out the whole facility and passed the flying colors.
Congratulations.
So I'm very excited. Like these are the things that, number one, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have said, man, I'm going to be running a drug rehab facility, right? Because I'm not sure if that's really anybody's dream, to be honest with you. But
You're
now
right.
at this point in my life, that's my dream. I'm living my dream for sure every day. I'm still connected to Jetty. I get to, run the surf club. I'm in the shop Sundays. I get to talk surf and sell surfboards to people all day. So I get my fix with that. And then during the week, I get to help people, man. And I'm living that beautiful life that we talk about in the programs, that if you put in the work, you get this beautiful life back. And I feel like I am. So I let my ego go. It's not ego, but I am a testament of when you put in the work, this is what happens. You get the blessings of life. You get those gifts back that you deserve because you're putting in the hard work. I always expected it. I always expected mommy and daddy to hand me everything because that's just who I was. I was lazy. I was not who I wanted to be, and I was miserable. But when you put in that work, it feels so much better to earn something than to be handed it. And that's where I am today. I earned this position. I worked at other facilities, and working at Veritas. You came and spoke at Veritas.
Yeah,
that to me, that was one of the best places I could have ever worked.
Yes.
Because I got to work with people that are less than. Their story, so my story is, I'm from Rumson. My mom owned her own company and she worked very hard at that. My dad was a pharmaceutical rep and he worked his butt off, right? But I didn't struggle for anything. But I still had a woe is me, attitude. But then I go to this facility and I become a therapist there and the director of operations. And the normal story for my clients coming in is I just got out of jail from 15 years. Mommy's a hooker and daddy's a gangbanger. And that's the normal story. And like that to me, I resonated with that. I spent time in and out of jail, with the bike clubs and doing this and that. And that was just, I resonated in that area. I wanted to help that population of people because they needed the help. Just like anybody needs the help, but they don't have the resources. Right? So private insurance is an amazing thing. Everybody needs the help, like I said. But when it comes to Medicaid and people not having insurance, there's not a lot of facilities out there. Right. So there's not a lot of help. There's only a certain amount of beds at a facility, and there's only so many facilities.
The state facilities were available some years and decades ago. They went away.
Right. Yep. It wasn't enough money for people. People got greedy. Yep. And so I was totally blessed to be able to see that side of addiction and be able to help people like that. And I love that. That definitely made me who I am today for sure. But I'm also excited now to be able to serve this community, and it's going to be beautiful.
Just keep serving.
Yep, absolutely.
Keep filling as we serve, don't we?
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, it's just haven't been experienced myself in servants. I'm not going to do it to my last breath. I don't, so are you. I know you will.
Yep. Absolutely.
And there's just such an expansion of it, we're coming, interesting enough, the world's tumultuous now, but interesting enough, you're seeing more and more collaboration with different, age groups.
Absolutely.
A lot more of that's happening. So where is the facility and how many beds do you guys have?
So our facility right now is in Tinton Falls, and we also have one in East Windsor that we're hoping to open up in the next 6 to 8 months. So we actually have no beds. We're considered what's called a PHP IOP, so partial hospitalization program, and then IOP is intense outpatient program. So they come during the day for one-on-one therapy. They come for group therapy. Today, I just hired a sound bowl person to come and do meditation and yoga stuff. Excellent. So that's going to be a group that we're offering. We're offering brain mapping. We're doing cognitive behavioral therapy, delectable behavioral therapy.
Whoa.
Some really cool, cutting edge therapy stuff. And that's the thing. So therapy is an amazing thing when you're coupling it with the other right things. It's therapy, it's the right medication management, it's getting in touch with doing your personal care time. It's not just one thing. It's following all of those
mixing
paths.
that right salad bowl.
Yeah, right, exactly. Right. So so we have those two facilities.
That's great.
And we're looking to eventually open up a detox and residential center. But we're starting off with these guys right now and seeing where we go with it.
That's a great model. That model is not prevalent. You guys are groundbreaking.
Right. So right now the 2.7 level of care, which is the residential model, it's failing. It's failing people in addiction, and it's just failing in general. Big pharma, big insurance companies. They don't want to pay for somebody to be in a rehab for 30 days. Then there's the other side of it that I can't miss work for 30 days, right? So now people are trying to write what their recovery looks like, and I'm going to go for 15 days and then I'm going to leave. So a lot of the things that we're seeing in residential programs are people AMAing, leaving against medical advice. They're staying for their detox till they
have to sign papers in order to get out of there. So they release you guys. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And they'll do the detox. They'll stay for the detox period till they're feeling physically good, but they're not focusing on the mental aspect. Right. So they leave there going, I'm good as new. I'm good to go back to work and live life again. But they're not actually answering for the mental aspect. And that's the biggest aspect there is once you get off the physical part. So
Absolutely.
That model is failing, and it's unfortunate because it's a necessary thing. So PHP and IOP is the next best step. It's going every day in person for 5 to 8 hours a day. And then you graduate from PHP to IOP from 8 hours to 5 hours to just OP to going for 3 hours to, GP, which is going 2 days a week for an hour just to do one-on-one therapy and get drug testing to make sure you're staying clean and stuff like that. And it's a beautiful model for sure.
And I have to be careful here because I agree with 100%. The older models need to be shifted, and they're happening, as we speak. To your point, and this model is very healthy because it enables and it allows the individual to decide, okay, I'm going to look at one of the programs. I'm going to go in there, but you got to go in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? It's not like you're already in and they push you to another room, with the beds and all. Been there, right? Yep. And you and I have spoken in these facilities before. So this model is, takes that away.
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's shifting things.
The institutionalization, I call it. And that's the thing, right? So yes. I do believe that staying in a facility for 30 days, it saved my life. So there's no question about that.
Well, not showing it. Definitely not. There's a time for, progression.
Right. And that's where we're at, I believe. I think that with the, I always tell people, it doesn't matter where you get sober. If you're intent on getting sober, you're going to get sober. Yeah, I had people, going, I can't do this. Man, I know people that got sober on the streets of Newark, right? It's if you have the will of God, you're going to do it.
That's it.
So yeah, the model's changing, but the support's there. And what this model is doing is, it is, like I said, the word institutionalization. You don't want to be institutionalized, man. I've been locked up and institutionalized.
That's brutal, right?
And it has such a negative effect on your mental health that, it makes you almost even crazier to be locked up like that.
Well, they're also medding you too.
Right.
You get meds in there every three times a day or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you know what the hell your meds are.
Yep, and you're just slurring your words, not you're a zombie. So this is a beautiful thing because you're not institutionalized and you're able to live a regular life. You're going home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, you're able to still live a normal life.
That brings the peace. You see, to your point, you're hitting on it, because when we're institutionalized in the beddings, then we're just circling throughout you can't even go outside. You can't go outside the walls without permission to go have a cigarette, or something like that. You want to scratch your ass, and someone's going to be up, watching you, or saying you get scratching it too much. There's so many. It's just nuts after a while. And again, I don't mean to shoo it.
No, absolutely, I get it, absolutely.
But that's why I bring it up, because I really want to help push you guys along. I'm going to support it.
That means a lot.
I think it's a fantastic thing. I spoke about 12-step being 12-step. 12 steps, 100 and how many years old?
Yeah.
So it's testament to it works, but that also has a little itches.
Absolutely. So I'll give you my view.
Please do.
It saved my life.
Yep.
However, it's true. It's tried and true, right? It's known to work, but I do believe that there can be other ways. And so when I say that, I mean you can't write your own sobriety, but there are things that you can do. So for me, the meetings absolutely saved my life. I was going to 2-3 meetings a day, right? And when I first got sober, I remember going for my first job. I was apprenticing at a tattoo shop.
Yes, you were.
And I wasn't getting paid any money. I was mopping the floors and the toilets, and I was so happy. My boss would let me go to 3 meetings a day. Like, I was working from morning to night at the shop.
You were loving it.
But I went to my 3 meetings.
You found purpose, by the way.
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah.
And, those meetings saved me. But now I'm down to, going to a couple meetings every so often. But, I just found a new sponsor that I'm working with. And, the meetings, like I said, saved my life. But I'm not going to lie to you and say I'm there every day, because I'm not anymore. I've found what's working for me, as long as I'm staying in touch with my sobriety. So my sobriety, number one, isn't working with my sponsees. Like, that's their sobriety. I can't say, I don't need a meeting. I worked with my sponsee tonight. Like, that's not a thing. That's their time. That's not me focusing on my sobriety. I have kind of shifted and made my own, model up of what it looks like to me. And for me, my going to meetings sometimes consists of going and paddling out in the ocean, going out on the boat and hooking into a fish like that. That's me connecting with my dad. That's me connecting with God. That's me leaving. So I always tell people, they ask, why is surfing and fishing so important to you? Besides the things that you talk about. And I always say, this is a place I can visualize. There's the land right there. It's all my problems. Here I am out here. I got no problems in the world. Like, I just leave it on land, and here I am, and you can visualize and actually see that, and that's what it does for me. So I have kind of written my own program, and it's worked for me. And I'm not condoning that or telling you to go do that, but I had enough time with the meetings and working the steps with my sponsor and stuff to start feeling comfortable to live a normal life again. I don't have to leave work in the middle of the day to go to a meeting. But do I call my sponsor if I need to, if there's something going on? Absolutely. Like, I know what to do. It's not just kind of fly by the seat of your pants like it's been for, so long.
Right. Well, you found your runway now, and now you're up and you're off.
Yeah.
Which is a fabulous thing, having gone through all of it and to recover quite quickly. As you mentioned, 3.5 years.
Yeah.
To be at this level.
So it's funny you said that. I've been very lucky. And so part of the thing I wanted that got me here was my family and the support of my family. And I thought they were my enemy for so long when they took the house away and they put my dogs at somewhere and I didn't have access. And I was sitting there, I was like, I lost my house, I lost my dogs, I lost my girl. I'm going to become a country star and write a song. You are a musician. You're going to touch on that a little bit too, But anyway. So it was like, it wasn't one single thing that saved my life. It was the multitude of the family aspect. It was the going to rehab and being locked up in a psych unit because I was going to kill the president of my motorcycle club. There were so many aspects of changing that made me want to stick to what I was doing. And yeah, my mom, my brother really saved my life. I was looking at them saying, fuck you. Like, I don't want to be in your life if you're going to take my stuff away.
Yeah.
That saved me, man. Like that, I'll look back at that. So for me, I never want to lose any of that stuff again. That was the hardest point in my life. And that's really when, besides the meetings where I had to look at myself and say, the fuck am I doing here? Like, I'm burning my relationships. I'm losing everything. I'm pissing people off. I have people after me. It wasn't.
You were angry in the whole process.
Yeah.
That was what that was about.
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. Absolutely. I was an angry little elf,
Yeah.
you know?
But you found your success posse.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's one thing we were talking
really
about,
have.
the core energy, right?
I really have. And that was, for so long, that was another thing that I struggled with, was that feeling of acceptance and belonging. And as you know, I was in and out of outlaw motorcycle clubs and doing this and that. And I always wondered, I was like, why am I doing this stuff? And I wanted that acceptance. And I wanted them to see that I was willing to do anything for them. You know, like that was the life that I thought was so cool. I wanted to emulate that stuff.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, just didn't serve me anything, you know?
Yeah, you finally realized at that point that, you know, we don't compare ourselves to others.
Yep. I'm not. So, you know, I wasn't brought up in the streets. Yeah, sure. I was running the streets for a very long time, but that's not how I was brought up. You know, I was living such an animalistic lifestyle, and I was okay with it. Man, when I saw my house after rehab, my poor mother, I mean, this place, talk about a trap house. Worse than a trap house. It was
the dogs running rampant too.
Yeah, I mean, it was disgusting. And I see, so on my Facebook feed, like I was talking about the dogs that I've rescued, my Facebook feed, there'd be pictures that pop up of the inside of my house. And I'm sitting there going, how did I ever live like this?
Oh, boy.
Like, it was horrible, you know? And I had a girlfriend that lived in that house too. And now I really judge her, but that's a whole different situation.
right, of course. There's a lot of different situations.
Yeah. So, but like, that was just such a dark time that, you know, I feel bad. And so, sorry, I got off tangent.
No, that's
so,
good.
you know, we're talking about how I scaled so quick in 3.5 years.
Yes.
And I didn't really pay attention to that fact. To me, like I was talking about, it was the aspect of my mom, my brother, and the rehab and all these things that saved me and got me to where I am in 3.5 years. So I have a really good friend that's struggling right now. And when I got out of rehab, the first call I got was from him. And so we were EMTs on the beach together for over a decade.
Wow.
And I looked up to this guy, man, and he was just as solid as they come. And about a week after I got out of rehab, I'm at my stepdad's house, and I'm on the phone, and I get a call, and I pick up, and it's my friend. I don't want to say his name.
Sure. Yeah.
And he said, his exact words were, "I want what you have." For the first time in my life, I was sitting there, and I'm like, someone's jealous of what I have? Like, dude, I got nothing. I just got out of living in sober living. I don't have any, you know, I don't have stuff anymore.
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, dude, I want to get sober. And I was sitting there, I was like, come to meetings with me, man. Come do this. And so since that day, I have had him in 15 different rehab facilities. He just came out of one.
Wow.
And
he's really working hard on himself.
Yeah. And so I keep on telling his, it was his fiance, and I don't even know what they are anymore after this. Sure. But I keep on telling her, I'm like, he's going to die, you know, and I hate to say that, but I used to tell it to my clients' family all the time. Like, if they don't change something, they're going to die. The next call you get, it's going to be, hey, you need to come identify, you know, this person's body. Yeah. So that keeps it real for me as well every day, you know, and I hate seeing people sick and suffering. But when it's one of my friends, man, it hurts me to the core.
Painful,
yeah. But it's a steep reminder every day that I put this work in and I earned it. This was not given to me. I earned this every day. And the stuff that was given to me, I used to give away all the time to anybody because I didn't earn it. You're not taking this away from me. You know, that's just where I'm at. So it's a beautiful reminder, but it hurts as well, you know?
Well, yeah, gosh, you summed it up so well. I mean, you've been so spot on about it all. There's pain and gain.
Yep, absolutely.
You know, we talked about that. And that continues in life. You know, life has its ups and downs, and that's the beauty of being able to tap into different sources. Like you said, 12-step, a mentorship, the core energy dynamics helped you a lot. You know, any tool that we can use. And again, we're multidimensional. So it takes a few tools, maybe more, and maybe a little more time, but all of a sudden that ding, ding, ding goes off. And then everything is like you're in a cloudy storm in the sky, and you know it's just, oh man, this is never gonna let up. How do I get out of this pouring rain, this storm? I mean, I'm stuck.
So deep down, you're so buried, you can't find your way out.
And then all of a sudden, the sky is gonna clear. That's, you know, I kept talking about time is gonna help us through it.
Absolutely.
But we have to do the work.
Well, and then those things come into play that you always speak about, those fractals.
The fractals, yes, right? Absolutely.
You know,
yes.
And that energy is absolutely huge, and it's true. Once those pieces just start coming together, it comes a whole puzzle, and it just gets so much easier.
It is,
but getting those first few pieces together, man, that's the hard part.
It certainly is.
But once you get a couple of them laid down, it's there for you. The path is led for you.
Yeah, it's so great to bring up the fractals and the puzzle, because you know how it is when you pull the puzzle out of the box. It's like, oh shit, okay, where do you start?
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time. Unless for those puzzle people out there, you can put it together like that. And I know a lot of people can.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, those of us who have to go through the process is, do I start at the corner, left corner, right corner, top corner, bottom corner, middle, but blah. So where do you start?
So
where is that foundation going to take you? How do you find it?
It's really funny. You showed me the path. I don't know if you remember this conversation. We started at Beach A, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was that first day, or maybe it was the second time, Beach B. We were sitting there walking, and I go, "Hey, Kurt, you ever check out Beach D?" And he looked at me and said, "We will get there, my friend. We were not skipping A to go to D.
That's right.
We were working A, B, C, D, and worked our way there." Yeah. And that was the path that laid it for me, that there's no cutting corners. You have to walk each path and earn that level to get there. And that was really the start of it for me.
Yep, that's right. And they go back into reaching to our own core. Yep. We all have these tools. We all have the ability to do exactly what you're talking about. And, thank you for speaking so rawly about it and authentically, and thank you for, your servants, full servants with full heart, to help others help themselves.
Yeah, that's how I do this every day. That's how I'm able to wake up and feel good. Yeah, it
really does. The music aspect of you, let's go there a little bit. What has that contributed or done to your life, or derailed it, or let's touch on that for a little bit.
That's actually really funny, as you say, derailed it, because it did. Music to me for so long was music and drugs. Like that was my life for so long, that it was like, let's drop some LSD and watch Wizard of Oz with some Pink Floyd behind it.
Oh my Lord!
And those were the good times, not the Right. Then there was the shooting heroin and coke at the same time, and listening to heavy metal music and doing the most messed up things you could ever imagine.
Yeah. Wow.
So music for me was always an inspiration. May have not been the best inspiration.
Right.
But music has always been something that has moved me. My father, like I told you, got me into surfing. Yeah. My father was a phenomenal musician. He was
really?
An amazing drummer. And he got my brother into drumming. So I remember, I think I was 7 years old. My brother asked for a set of drums, and I asked for a guitar for Christmas. And just like my mom does to today, you guys are crazy if you think you're going to see those under the tree. You're going to be two upset little boys every Christmas. But every Christmas, what we asked for would always be there.
Yeah.
So he started playing drums, and I started playing guitar, and then it was almost like stepbrothers. It was like, don't touch my drum set,
Really?
So when he was with his friends, I'd go in and I'd play the drums all the time. And that just started resonating with me a little bit more. I started really picking up the guitar when I was in high school again. And so now I play both, but I don't have a drum set right now. Like I told you, I got up with the black ties the other night at Jamie's, and that's
great.
It was so fun. So for me, it was always, I was afraid to perform for people, right? I always got that nervousness. And the drummer didn't show up, and one of the guys just started playing a John Mayer song. And I was just sitting there, and I've watched them play a million times.
Sure.
And finally I was like, dude, let's just get into this. And I started playing with them, and right again, I was in my groove. Like I felt so comfortable, and it was so cool again. But music is different for me now. I listen, for me back in the day, I used to listen to just the guitar riffs or just the drum solos, and that's why I would listen to a song. Now it's listening to the lyrics and what those lyrics did for me. And I'm not going to lie, tonight, like we talk about energy.
Yeah.
This was meant to happen for me to be here.
Yes.
So I had this band, Blind and Driving, that I've always loved. It was one of my brother's friends' band, and they've always inspired me. And I went to go see them at a place called Chubby's in Red Bank, if you remember back in the day.
Sure, of course. Yeah.
And, there's a band called Rope Tree, and here's Billy from Rope Tree here tonight, and I think it was his bassist or guitar player.
Yes.
And that just meant that I was here because that I was meant to be here tonight. Like that album, Plastic Jesus, got me through so many hard times. Like I can remember just driving in my car doing 80 miles an hour, whether I was crying or whatever I was. Like those songs got me through so much hard times.
Wow.
And music does that. Like it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And now I play the guitar just to have fun, you know, like I will sit there and I'll play for a couple hours at a time. I can't sing for anything. So if you want me to clear out a room or you need a room cleared out, call me and I'll come and sing. Because that's not my
I'll come
thing.
along with you and clear out the whole building and forget the room.
But it's different for me now. So, you know, one of the things I always talk about with people is, you know, they always ask me like, is going to concerts hard for you now, like being sober? I'm sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Why?
I go to a concert, I go, I remember the set list now when I come home and I can talk about it. I was like, I used to go, oh yeah, I think I went to that concert. I was there. Oh yeah, how was it? I don't know. You know, they played.
Right,
you know,
right.
like,
What songs they played?
Right, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, all of them, right.
Everyone I listen
blended
to.
together. Exactly. You know, so now it's like I truly get to enjoy it, and it's the music that moves me. It's that energy that I tap into now. That I do. Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I still get high every day, but I get high on music and the hype and the energy, and that's what I thrive on.
Love
you know,
it's that ability that you have, and again, we all have it, but you've tapped into it. And you know, again, to me, it's nature. You know, I've talked about it. That's my foundation, and
Absolutely.
it saved me for sure. And I still tap it. And you know, Alex and I push it out there. Alex too is a man of nature.
Love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just organic.
It is.
You know, all the other tools we've been speaking about. You know, the rehab and the the meds and all that.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
where does that take us?
Right. We're depending on other things.
Wait, we're back onto that dependency area again, instead of depending of our core.
Right.
And,
We're not-
knowing,
right, exactly.
and knowing that the Savior is here.
Yep, it's masking certain things. It's like it's multifaceted, you know. Like there's so many things you have to do, but for me, that same thing, that connecting with nature. So I took my girlfriend and her niece out the other day on a boat ride, and we were around Sandy Hook, and I'm reading just thousands of striped bass on my fish finder, and we're not catching any of them. So here I am, like I'm all mad, right? And all of a sudden, I see water just start to break everywhere. So I gunned the boat over to what I thought was jumping striped bass. They weren't jumping striped bass. They were probably a pod of at least 500 dolphins.
Wow.
And at that moment, my girlfriend's niece has never been out on the boat, let alone out on the boat in the ocean, let alone seeing a dolphin outside of an aquarium.
Oh, how fabulous.
And I got to see that, and that got me excited.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not the chase of my own thrill anymore. It's getting to see other people's excitement that I'm sitting there. I'm like, wow, that's a beautiful thing. And that's nature, man. Like being able to see that and being out there. And these dolphins were, I mean, they were splashing the boat. It was that close.
That's
And
beautiful.
Just being able to connect like that is just, there's nothing else like it.
It really is. It's a beautiful thing, as we say, right?
It is.
And it's so interesting. The whales are coming in closer to the beach too.
Ton of minke whales, ton of humpback whales. They're chasing the sand eel and the bunker and the peanut bunker. I mean, it's so plentiful right now, and the water it's really clean. You know,
First time in a long time since I've been here. It's been up and down a little bit, and all of us have seen that the water is cleansing, and the testament is nature.
absolutely.
And nature comes right up to us, and they put a show on for us.
Yep.
It's like, hey, listen, you guys are putting a show on land. We're going to put a show on here in the ocean, or the land animals, or however it is.
Yep.
There's just so much to lean into the natural world that's available to us right here without having to pay $1 a cent or anything for it. Yep. Not having to lean on anything other outside forces or get all the influences that are thrown at us. We just center ourselves through the ability to touch nature.
Well, it's funny you say that. So I think that's one of the things that, I know that's one of the reasons I am blessed. Like we have Sandy Hook,
Yes.
and I tell you, people can get sober on the streets of Newark if you really want it, right?
Yeah, that was a good point.
But,
I agree with
I
that,
can go to Sandy Hook and I can go for a ride and I can see fox, I can see deer, I can see seals, I can see dolphin, I can see whales, I can see 250 different bird species, all in one little 4-mile trip.
Yep.
And like that to me is like the most healing aspect in the world. Like how else? Like that's where I go and connect with the world. Like that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm able to do every day. So when I tell somebody, hey, I'm at my limits, I need to walk away and go do this, that's exactly what I go and do. I go take my ride to Sandy Hook and clear myself and come back and have that conversation that may have not gone the same way if I didn't go clear my head.
Right. You find your space.
Right.
Where you can go ahead and appreciate who you are, and talk about the who and where I'm headed. So with that, gosh, you have been fabulous today.
Thank you. Thank you for
friend.
having me. I appreciate
I'm really
it.
excited that you came in.
Thank you.
And
Me too.
We're going to have you back on down the
love
road
that.
100%.
Thank you.
And keep tracking you. So the facility is opening in a week.
Yep.
And do you have a lineup of people coming in yet?
So
or?
people have been calling the facility and our admission center to come in, and we're on a holding pattern until, so like I said, the state came in, and we're waiting for that sticker on the door.
Yeah,
so once they
good.
send us that sticker, we're going to be bringing them in. So we do have some people in a holding pattern waiting to come in.
Great, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Kurt.
Fabulous. So one last question for you, my friend. We could sit here all day long, and I'd really like to.
Yeah, me too.
There's so much for you and I to talk about and to help people with, I think. I think we're a good team like that.
Absolutely.
We're going to put some things together down the road, and Alex is going to be part of it. He also understands the core energy dynamics, what it can do for you. He lives it. But anyway, before we get there, just one last question for you, Trevor. As you know, the world right now is in a very tumultuous time, and there's a lot of things going on out there. Right now, you are a blank sheet of paper. You are a white page. What would you like to see happen in the world today, excuse me, as it is?
More empathy for your neighbor. More empathy for your neighbor.
How so?
Too many people out there are just filled with rage that they don't even realize. So for example, let's take driving. So many people have like wild road rage for no reason, and you don't realize that it's just anger within yourself, and you're not really mad at that person. And we're not helping our neighbors like we used to. You know, we don't have that compassion. We don't have that empathy that we used to. And I feel like as a whole, we're a more selfish people these days. It's feed me. What do I get out of this? And that's sad. And I think we need to be more empathetic. I think we need to be more neighborly. I think we need to support each other more. I think politics has torn us apart. And we're on a path that is, it's kind of sad to see where we are as people, because we're so smart. We have all this technology, but we're also miserable, some of us, you know, and it's for no reason, you know. We have this anger inside of us, and it's just sad. We just need to connect as human beings a little bit more, and have a little bit more empathy for each other.
So let's expound upon that real quick before we sign off. The empathy that we have for others also is a strength, of an empowering strength from within. And that helps us be able to take, you know, the courage for action. Remember, fear is just a reaction. Courage is really, you know, that's where we go with it.
Yep.
So the empathy part of, you know, help thy neighbor out, how would you go a little deeper there? How would you like to see that develop?
People coexisting more. You know, I just feel like you see these people fighting over things that at the end of the day don't matter. You know, just having better of an understanding of mental health, right? So some people, I see people just fighting with others all the time, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, this person like is mentally not well. Like have a little bit more understanding and compassion than just being a hater and saying, well, fuck that guy, there's something wrong with him, instead of being like, what can I do to help, or not even engage? You know what I mean? Just there's ways to go about things, and now I feel like people are meeting other people with anger more than anything, instead of acceptance, instead of the empathy, and instead of saying, what can I do to change this? Because we are in an angry place, you know? I had a guy flipping me off on the way here, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, man, I feel bad for that guy. Because back in the day, my brother laughs. So I used to keep big bolts and fishing sinkers in the side of my car, and if someone pissed me off, I'd be throwing something at them, breaking their window, or I'd be stopping and I'd be ripping them out of the car. Now, Lord. This guy's beeping at me, giving me the finger. I'm going, I feel so bad for this guy. But I'm not going to let him rob me of my happiness, you know? And that's where it is. Great. People rob each other of their happiness, and they get so angry, and they fight for no reason. And it's just, I feel like we're at a boiling point in general with where we're at with politics and our economy and everything else. It's, you know, it's doom and gloom. That's what they put on the news. Everything's doom and gloom. They don't report on the good stuff. They don't report on the good stuff, the happy stuff, the good things people are doing. So they fall into that line of being sheep and seeing, oh, the world's shit, and I'm going to act like shit.
Right, the herd mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
And you and I have discussed it in length, and we discuss it here. One of the things we push out in the core energy dynamic is understanding to be independent of oneself and to, you know, trust within. Wow, you have delivered tremendous content today.
Thank you,
my friend.
Appreciate that. Thank you for having me on.
And I'm so fortunate to have you as my friend and have you in my life.
I feel the same way.
I want you to know that.
Thank you. You've done a lot for me. I truly wouldn't be sitting in the seat without you.
Well, thank you. But you did it for yourself as well, and you know, now you're reaching out and you're doing it for other people. So that, you know, that touches me, my heart. I get a little choked up.
Thank you.
So Absolutely, man.
Love you.
So before we love you too. So before we sign off, can you want to let the audience know where they can reach out and find Trevor in any way if you like?
Absolutely. So you can I'm on Instagram, Trevor/EYER. If you follow me there, you can see I post a lot of positive stuff about sobriety. I post a lot of my fishing, a lot of my surfing. I always encourage people to reach out to me. If you need help and you're struggling, man, I'm there. Reach out. Someone cares. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, there is somebody that cares.
Yeah, wonderful thing, huh? That's just awesome. So we're also surrounded with similar energy that Trevor and I have been talking about, and it's the man behind the scene here, and his name is Alex Fabio. Alex is the man who is our co-producer, associate director, does all the filming, does the sound, does all of it. So Alex is all in, and we're very happy to have him, so we'd like to mention him for sure, 100%. So audience, thank you very much for joining us today, and I hope you enjoyed listening and to our conversation with Trevor, and thank you for that. We would also like you to, if you will, subscribe when you can to the Core Energy Experience. Like and subscribe would be great. We enjoy the comments. So again, thank you for being here today. We'll see you on the next episode, and remember, your mind is your power. Stay empowered.